All right, we are on topic 8, which is all about Africa, and we're on lesson 1, which is human origins. So scientists believe that the earliest humans came from Africa millions of years ago. And until about 5,000 years ago, there's really no history of people because there was nobody had invented writing yet. So to study the earliest humans, the archaeologists and other scientists would investigate the places where these people lived and kind of see what kind of artifacts or fossils they could find. So an artifact is different than a fossil. So an artifact is an object made by humans. It might be a tool, might be a weapon, or some kind of shelter, parts of a shelter even. Whereas a fossil is going to be a hardened remains or an imprint of humans. So it's going to be things like a footprint or a bone or teeth, that kind of stuff. And so they'd find some that are millions of years old, but could tell that based on the depth of the layers and see how where it is in the earth, and then also through dating of some chemical and carbon dating. Let's see. All right, so in 1974, an American fossil hunter discovered the remains of a body that they call Lucy, and they found this in Ethiopia. So they found about 40% of a human skeleton, and they figured that it was about the remains of about a 3.5 tall woman, and so they called her Lucy because she was a woman. They could tell she was a woman, and the bones showed that she had walked upright on 2 legs, and it was about 3.2 million years ago. So this is a very revolutionary find. So through this and other discoveries, they believe that the first people were African and they lived in Africa. Archaeologists also believe that early people were hunter-gatherers and also nomads. So they would survive by hunting, fishing, and gathering plants and things that they needed to eat to survive. Remember, shelter and food were those essential things for survival. So life was harsh to survive. And so the people had to kind of develop technologies, things that we don't consider technologies, but tools and skills to meet their needs and their wants. But their needs were going to be food and a place to live and a safe place from animals or other things, the elements. During the Paleolithic era, people started to learn how to use fire. So that was a huge technology, for warmth, for cooking, and for a variety of things. So the cultures of early societies were simple, and they were just focused, like I said before, on survival. So Stone Age hunter-gatherers, they usually lived in bands of people, like 10 or 12, maybe even up to 20 people. But it'd be 10 or 12 adults usually, and then their children. And these bands moved from place to place, depending on the season. And they'd live where there was food. So they'd live in caves, little temporary huts they'd make from trees and branches and things they could find, maybe some animal skins, and making tents from animal skins is another huge technology. So between fire and using the skins to make some kind of shelter was a great advance for the people of that time. So most scientists today think that modern humans, or Homo sapiens, came from Africa more than 100,000 years ago when they started to migrate across the world. And from there, they began a long series of migrations that would have gone to other regions of the world. And that was that map that I showed you in class. All right, that's it for lesson 1.